Imagine floating in the void of space, your body weightless, Earth spinning slowly below you. You're connected to the International Space Station by a single tether, a lifeline that holds you to safety. But then without warning, snap, the tether breaks. You start drifting, helplessly floating away from the only safe haven in this vast, dark space. What happens now? Could you ever make it back, or is this the beginning of a slow journey into the abyss? In the movies, we often see astronauts soaring gracefully outside their ships, tethered by a single line. But what if, in reality, an astronaut's tether snaps? What if they start floating away into space with nothing to cling to? It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? In this video, we'll explore exactly what would happen if an astronaut became untethered from the space station and started drifting off. It's a story of fear, hope, and the ultimate test of survival. Let's dive into the science and the human side of this nail-biting scenario. First, let's get one thing straight. In space, falling doesn't work like it does on Earth. Here, if you drop a rock, it falls to the ground because gravity pulls it down. But in space, especially for astronauts on the International Space Station, it's a bit different. They're actually falling around Earth all the time. The station, the astronauts, everything is moving at a speed of around 28,000 kilometers per hour, circling Earth in a constant state of free fall. This is what we call being in orbit. So when an astronaut's tether snaps, they don't just drop or plummet into space. They're still moving at the same speed and direction as the space station itself. In fact, at first, it might not even feel like they're drifting away. But with no tether holding them back, tiny forces, like the push of their movement, would slowly nudge them further and further away from the station. Slowly, but surely, they'd be on their own, floating in the vast silence of space, away from everything that feels like home. Now, this isn't just a freak accident scenario. Space agencies like NASA have prepared for such emergencies. Astronauts carry a special piece of equipment called SAFER, or the simplified aid for EVA rescue. Think of it like a mini jetpack, attached to the back of the spacesuit, filled with tiny thrusters that can give the astronaut enough control to guide themselves back to safety. But using SAFER is no easy task. Imagine being in a bulky suit, in zero gravity, your heart racing, your mind in overdrive. In such a moment, staying calm is key. They'd have to carefully activate the thrusters, aim themselves in the right direction, and use precise bursts to propel back. Too little, and they'd drift endlessly. Too much, and they might overshoot, making rescue even harder. It's like trying to throw a dart at a bullseye while floating in midair, with the stakes being your own life. But what if the astronaut can't control the SAFER unit, or they're too far away to reach the station? This is where things get even more intense. The moment an astronaut becomes untethered, mission control on Earth and the team on the station would spring into action. Rescuing a drifting astronaut is a race against time, with complex calculations and coordination. Mission control would quickly analyze the astronaut's position, their speed, and their distance. Fellow astronauts might prepare for a rescue, planning to bring the drifting crew member back by maneuvering the station itself closer to them. But it's far from simple. Even a minor miscalculation could make the situation worse. Every second matters, and every person in the mission control room knows that. Imagine the intensity, the adrenaline, and the teamwork that would go into this operation, all with one goal: saving a life. Now let's shift to the astronaut themselves, alone, floating further from the station, watching Earth from thousands of kilometers away. No sounds, no gravity, only the vast emptiness around. Can you imagine the thoughts racing through their mind? The fear of drifting endlessly, the sudden isolation, the desperate hope that their teammates will reach them in time. Their mind might race back to memories, thinking of loved ones, of Earth below, of everything that led them to this moment. Astronauts are trained to keep calm in emergencies, but this is a test of human willpower like no other. Every second stretches into an eternity, with only the steady hum of their oxygen supply breaking the silence. They might try to focus, to remember their training, but with Earth so close and yet so far, and the space station disappearing in the distance, holding on to hope would be its own challenge. It's moments like these that reveal just how strong the human spirit can be, even in the face of almost impossible odds. Let's take a step back and think about why astronauts are willing to face such terrifying risks. The desire to explore, to reach beyond our world and uncover the mysteries of space, it's one of humanity's greatest drives. Every astronaut who steps outside that station knows the danger, knows that even the smallest slip could be catastrophic. Yet they go, risking their lives, pushing boundaries, and exploring the unknown. This hypothetical scenario reminds us of the courage it takes to be an astronaut. These brave souls are pioneers, pushing forward for all of us back on Earth. Each mission, each walk in space, and each risk they take brings us closer to understanding the universe and maybe one day, living among the stars. So, what would happen if an astronaut fell from the space station? It's a mix of physics, technology, and pure human determination. While there's a chance they could use their training and equipment to find their way back, it's a reminder of the harsh realities and the incredible bravery of those who explore the final frontier. The next time you look up at the night sky, think of those out there, orbiting above us, navigating the unknown and reminding us that even in the vastness of space, the strength of human spirit shines bright.